I told my 17-year-old nephew that his dad had already spent his college fund, and I did it at his grandmother's funeral reception, with half the family standing 10 feet away holding paper plates of lasagna. So, yeah, am I the problem? Maybe. But here's the thing, somebody had to say it. Okay, so back up a little. My name's not important, but my brother's name is Derek, and Derek has always been the golden child. I say that without bitterness now, mostly. Growing up, Derek was the one my parents talked about at dinner, the one who got the car at 16, the one they floated money to when his first business idea collapsed, and his second one, and honestly parts of his third. I was the one who got a firm handshake and told to figure it out. I did figure it out. I put myself through school. I have a decent job in accounting, which matters later. And I genuinely made peace with the fact that Derek and I operate in different orbits. Derek's kid, my nephew Marcus, is 17. Intelligent kid, sweet actually, wants to study environmental science. He and I have always been close in that way where he texts me random nature documentaries and I actually watch them. His mom, Derek's ex-wife, Renata, she reached out to me about 8 months ago, quietly, asking if I knew anything about the college savings account her parents had set up for Marcus when he was born. Her parents, not Derek's. They'd opened it, contributed to it over the years, and left it in Derek's name to manage because Marcus was a minor and Renata's mom didn't fully trust joint accounts after a rough divorce situation in her own family. That account had, at its peak, somewhere around $42,000 in it. I didn't know anything, but I looked into it when Renata gave me permission to ask around, and what I found was Derek had withdrawn from it, repeatedly, over 4 years. The account had $1,100 left in it. 1,100 for a kid who's supposed to start college applications in the spring. I went to Derek first. I want to be very clear about that. I went to Derek first, privately, just the two of us over the phone. I laid it out the way I would with anyone. I said, Derek, I've been looking at Marcus's college account. Can you walk me through the withdrawals? And there was this pause, long enough that I actually pulled the phone away to check if the call had dropped. Then he said, That's not really your business, is it? I said, Renata asked me to look at it, so in a sense it is. He goes, Renata doesn't have standing on that account. It was set up by her parents, but it's in my name, so legally I managed it as I saw fit. There were family expenses. Marcus benefited. Family expenses. I almost laughed. I said, Derek, there's $1,100 left. Marcus is going to college in a year. And Derek said, and I will never forget this, I'll figure it out before then, I always do. That was 4 months before our mother died. When Mom passed, everything compressed. The grief, the logistics, the family descending on the house. Derek was in full performance mode, the attentive son, the capable one, giving the toast, accepting condolences, hugging aunts. And Marcus was just sort of floating around the edges of all of it. At one point, he pulled me aside at the reception, this kid, red-eyed from crying, still wearing his clip-on tie slightly crooked, and he said, Aunt Simone, is it true Grandma left something for my college? I heard Dad mention it, and there it was. Derek had apparently told Marcus that any inheritance money from my mom would cover his college, which was, my mother had a small life insurance policy, split 4 ways among her kids. It was not going to cover anyone's college. Derek was telling his son a story to buy himself more time, and Marcus was standing there believing it, this kid who's been quietly counting on a future that had already been quietly dismantled. I looked at him, and I made a decision I have not stopped second guessing. I told him, not everything at once, not brutally, but I told him enough. I said, Marcus, the account your great-grandparents set up, it doesn't have what it used to. You need to talk to your mom and start looking at financial aid, scholarships, part-time work. You have options. But you need to start now, not after some inheritance that isn't going to be what your dad is saying it is. His face, I can still see it. That specific look where someone is trying to figure out if they've been lied to or if they've misunderstood. Then he asked me, very quietly, did my dad take the money? I said, talk to your mom. Which I know that's not nothing. Derek found out by the end of the night. Someone overheard, or Marcus said something. I honestly don't know the exact chain. But Derek pulled me into my mother's kitchen, her kitchen, the day we buried her, and he told me I had no right, that I'd poisoned his son against him, that I'd chosen a random Tuesday to blow up their relationship. I said, it's not random. He was about to spend the next year counting on money that doesn't exist. Derek said, you don't know the full picture. I said, then tell Marcus the full picture. He didn't have an answer for that. He walked out of the kitchen and didn't speak to me for the rest of the reception. Renata called me the next week. She was grateful. She'd already set up a meeting with Marcus's school counselor about aid and scholarships. She said Marcus was upset but adjusting. She said Derek had not, at that point, provided any explanation to their son. My aunt, my mother's sister, called me the week after that and told me I was cruel, that I had stolen Marcus's ability to grieve in peace, that whatever the truth was, it could have waited. And honestly, I keep turning that over. The timing was terrible. My mother had been in the ground for 4 hours. Marcus was 17 and heartbroken, and I handed him one more thing to carry. That part of it I can't fully defend. But the alternative was letting him walk into spring semester believing in money that had been gone for years. And the person who should have told him, the person who owed him that conversation, had already proven he wasn't going to have it. A few weeks later, Marcus texted me one of his nature documentaries. Just the link, no message. I watched it. I don't know what it means if it means anything. He hasn't said another word to me about any of it. Derek and I are not speaking. The money is gone. The account has $1,100 in it. That part doesn't change no matter who was wrong about the timing. So here's where I land, and I genuinely don't know the answer. Was the truth something Marcus deserved, or was my mother's funeral the worst possible place to hand it to him? Did I do right by that kid, or did I use him to settle something with my brother that I'd been sitting on for years? Because I've thought about it enough that I'm not sure anymore. So honestly, am I the problem here? Honestly though, what would you have done? Comment below.